Hari Om. Thank you all for having me here today. Um, Start with the prayer. Om Narayana Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. More stories from Chandogya Upanishad. See, we all know that the Upanishads are the most ancient of all literature available to mankind. And we also know that it's the end part of the Vedas, and it gives us the highest teaching that is available to us. Who am I? It answers that question. The Veda mantras and the Upanishad mantras are generally very, very terse, very, very impersonal, because about some impersonal Nirguna, Nirakara, Brahman, and they don't even expand on any of these short formulae that they present. Very, very hard to understand and impersonal, basically, very impersonal. So what makes it personal are the stories that are found in these Upanishads. Small stories, little stories, which are so beautifully interwoven into the main theme of the Upanishad. Even the stories are also in the same manner, very terse, very short, bullet points. So we need to use a lot of imagination here when we actually read the stories and, expand on them. But what I found greatly interesting is these stories are not about some person in ancient India. It's about you and me. Nothing has changed. See, we know that these Upanishads are Apaurusheya. It has come straight from Narayana or Sadashiva himself and flown through the Guru Parampara. And it has come not from a human mind, all that we know. Yet, they're so close to my reality. They're so close. And like I felt the moment, all the time when I read these stories, nothing has changed about the human mind. We still have the same, Arishadvairis. We still have the same kind of problems with mental problems, physical problems, relationship problems. All the problems remain the same. Through the time, the flow of time, nothing much has changed. Therefore, these messages that we get from the Upanishads are timeless and eternal in nature. Because our mind is eternal, the problems it carries, the baggages of the mind are eternal in nature. The stories in the Upanishads, the messages of the Upanishads are also eternal. Maybe the environment was a little different in those ancient times, but then otherwise, it is so contemporary. That is why they are so relevant that we need to decode these stories and see how it can apply to us at a personal level and also to society, to our immediate environment as well. So last time we spoke about some stories about the Shvetaketu is the hero of this Chandogya Upanishad. He is the main character who pervades the entire Upanishad, and his father, Uddalaka Aruni, also called as Gautama. These sages have got several names. I have no clue why, but they are the same. They're talking of the same person. So this is about. So this Uddalaka Aruni and Shvetaketu are the heroes of Chandogya. Last time we spoke about how they learned from a Kshatriya Gnani king called Pravahana Javali. So today we shall talk about a very well-known, very beloved character in the Upanishad folklore, which is Satyakama Jabala. Satyakama Jabala. So I'm sure all of us are familiar with this Satyakama. At least the name is very familiar, and we also know the rudiments of the story of what it's all about. So this Satyakama was a little very sincere young boy who was the son of this Jabala, this maid. Used to be a maid, when Satyakama was born. She was a maid who didn't have much to her, of very limited means, and she didn't even know who her husband was, because she used to serve a lot of guests at some ashram who came in the Gurukul, who came to study or whatever. And so she tended to her little son all by herself. And as his name indicates, Satyakama, we don't know if Jabala gave her the name or whether he got the name after his adventure. But then, as his name indicates, he was a seeker of truth. From a very little age, from a young age, he wanted to know the truth from the bottom of his heart. So once, to the village, a sage came. A sage by the name Haridrumata Gautama came. When he came, Satyakama told the mother, "Mother, I want to go and learn at the feet of the Sadguru. I want to go to the ashram of this great sage and learn Brahma Vidya from him." And then, so he went to Haridrumata Gautama, and the sage, as was the norm of those days, he said, even now we need to fill up all sorts of forms when we go to a school. Father's name, mother's name, caste, religion, this, that, everything has to be said. Same thing, this Haridrumata Gautama, the great sage, asked this Satyakama, who are you? Who is your father? Who is your mother? And the poor little boy said, I'm not sure who my father is. I'll go back to my mother and I'll come back with the answer. So we know he went back to the mother and she said, look, she was very forthright with, I don't know who your father is, because I was a maid and, I was very young and I had a living to earn and I was doing a lot of things. And then, so I'm very sorry. I don't know who your father is, but I know I'm your mother, and that's most important. Go and tell that sage that you're Satyakama Jabala. That's the surname I give you. You go and tell the sage. Promptly, the little boy went and told the sage, I don't know, my mother doesn't know who the father is, so I'm Satyakama Jabala. I'm the son of Jabala. My name is Satyakama. What do you think sage Gautama did? He was wonderfully impressed by the honesty of this little boy and the courage of this little boy and of the little boy's mother. He said, yes, you're not scared of talking the truth, so you're eminently eligible for Brahmajnana. So the sage said that he didn't bother who this fellow was, from what his pedigree was, and he took him into the ashram. And what did he do? They didn't start with ABC on the first day. What Gautama he gave him a task. Gautama, the sage, gave this little boy a task. He said, first, I'll give you 400 cows. And these cows were very, very weak, and they were not tended to properly. So he was actually looking for a nice boy to look after the cows. And so Gautama told him, you take these cows and go away deep into the forest. You look after them properly. You tend to them with care. And until they grow to 1,000, you be there in the forest and don't come back to me. When they become 1,000, come back to the ashram. So this was the task given by the sage to Satyakama. Satyakama gladly agreed, cheerfully agreed, and he took all the cows and he went deep into the forest. Then what did he do all the time? He tended to the cows and he was all by himself. He was meditating. He was talking to nature. He was talking to the cows. He would sing to the cows. He would take care of all their needs. And most of the time, he just meditated. And years rolled by. He didn't even notice the time. And one fine day, a bull came and spoke to this Satyakama. He said, "My dear Satyakama, haven't you noticed? We are now 1,000 of us. Let's go back to the ashram. The sage has told you, isn't it? Come back to the ashram when we are 1,000. Satyakama said, "Huh? We are already 1,000. How wonderful." And so this bull was actually Vayudeva. He had come in the form of a bull and he was talking to Satyakama. And the bull said, "Look, I'm very, very pleased with you. All of us are, all 1,000 cows are very pleased with you. So I'm going to give you a little gyan, Brahma gyan." He was Vayudeva himself who was talking through the bull. And what was the Brahma Jnana? He said, "I'll teach you the first pada or quarter. 4 quarters means one full, one whole. So the first pada of Brahman, I will teach you the secret," the bull said. And what was that? The first pada has got again 4 kalas or 4 parts. What is that? Purva, Paschima, Uttara, Dakshina. These are the four kalas of the first pada of Brahman. North, south, east, west, all the directions are the 1 quarter of Brahman. And so what should you do? The one who meditates on this, the one who does upasana on this pada of Brahman will become Prakashavan. He'll become a bright being. So that's what Vayudeva gave the Upadesha to this Satyakama. And then he said, "This is not just it. I have just told you about the first pada. Okay. Now, another Agni Deva will come and give you the second pada of Brahman." So Satyakama was very happy. He bowed to the bull, thanked him profusely, and said, then he took all the cows and started walking towards the ashrama of his sage, of his master, Gautama. And then in the night, he put up a fire and then he sat, and naturally, Agni Deva started talking to this little boy, like the Vayudeva had promised. And this Agni Deva said, "I will tell you about the second quarter of Brahman." What is the second quarter of Brahman? The first was the 4 directions, and the second pada of Brahman was the 4. Again, it has 4 parts, which is Prithvi, Antariksha, Paramakasha, and Samudra. That means Earth, Earth's atmosphere, and the space beyond, and the oceans. All of them form the second quarter of Brahman. Second quarter of Brahman. And one who meditates on this will become Anantavan, says Agni. Meditate on this aspect of Brahman and you'll become Ananta. You'll become unlimited and expanded. It'll expand your vision. And then Agni said, "Now I have given you the second pada. Then the third pada will be given by Surya Deva, Aditya himself." And so this Aditya comes in the form of a swan. Comes in the form of a swan, even as Satyakama is leading the bulls, all his cows, 1,000 cows and bulls, the herd to the ashrama. And what does Aditya tell him? Aditya gives him the third pada of Brahman. And he says, again, got 4 quarters. What are they? Agni, Surya, Chandra, and Vidyut. They are again, they form the third part of Brahman. Fire, the sun himself, and the moon, and lightning. These are the next quarter of Brahman. And one who meditates on this aspect of Brahman becomes Jyotishman. He'll become radiant. He'll become radiant like Agni himself, Surya himself, Chandra, and lightning itself. So that is the third quarter. Then the swan or Aditya, he says, the last quarter will be given to you by a bird, some water bird, waterfowl. And it's actually Pranadeva who comes and gives him the last Upadesha. What is the last Upadesha? The 4th pada or quarter of Brahman, says Pranadeva, again has 4 parts, which is Prana, Chakshu, the eyes, Shrotru, the ears, and Manas, the mind itself. This is the last quarter of Brahman. And if you meditate on these aspects of Brahman, you become Ayatanavan. What is the meaning of Ayatanavan? Ayatanavan means the support, the foundation itself. Entire support for the entire universe. Everything emanates from the mind. Just think about it. Everything emanates from the mind. The world itself, the foundation of the world itself is the mind. So when you realize this aspect, you will become Ayatanavan. You become the foundation. You become the base of everything. So this is the upasana that you need to do. Now, having taken all these beautiful words of wisdom from all these devatas, Satyakama goes to his master and he tells him, the moment the master sees the face of Satyakama, he says, your face shines with the knowledge of Brahman. He could immediately make out that this boy has got so much knowledge of all these years have passed and he has acquired so much. The truth about life, he has got it. And Gautama says, you already know everything. What else you want to know? And so the little boy says, no. He says, Acharyat eva vidya vidita sadishta praptu. He said, look, I was taught by all these devatas, but unless the teaching comes from the words of the Acharya, until I hear the Shravana has to happen from the mouth of the Guru himself, Sadguru himself. That is what scriptures say. So until you give me the teaching, it will not be complete. And so Satyakama, this Gautama, hugged the little boy and then gave him Brahmajnana, completed the Brahmajnana. He says, you now know how to meditate on Brahman. Now I am going to give you the knowledge that you yourself are Brahman. That is the ultimate Brahma Vidya. This is what the teacher tells the Shishya. This is a story in brief. So what are the insights? And after this, Satyakama himself became a teacher. He studied under Gautama for more time. And then Gautama Rishi said, you can go ahead and hold, you yourself are a Sadguru now. You can have your own ashrama. So insights. Now let us hear from all of us. What are the insights we get from this little story? You can please unmute and share whatever you would want to share. What are the insights? Anything. What does this story tell us?
Your microphones have been enabled, so you can unmute and share.
Good morning, Namaste, Padmini here.
Yes.
One thing that was from the last part of your story, the final liberation has to come from the Guru himself. So if it is a human being has to give the moksha and animal to animal or whatever. But final grace has to come. They have to be on the same plane or same loka.
Wonderful. Okay. Let's take that. Excellent. So it has to come from the Sadguru. Yes. Acharya Mukhena, Vidya has to be taken. Yes. Very good. Anything else, people? So many insights. Yes, sir.
He had one goal to achieve.
Focus.
Focus. On that
Yes.
focus, he achieved that.
Very good. Yeah, absolutely.
Then only divine grace comes to him.
Very nice. That is called as Samadhana. In the Sadhana Chatushtaya and the Shat Sampatti, Samadhana is one of the desirable qualities, which is ultimate, complete focus. Yes, Aruna madam.
Nature can teach us so many things if we really look into deep into it. Agni, Vayu are all nature. They can teach us many things.
Wonderful.
That's how we can learn.
Wonderful, Aruna madam. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Yes.
In the beginning, he never questioned the Guru. When the Guru said, go into a forest with the 400 cows, without saying anything, he just obeyed the Guru. And from then he got all the...
Beautiful. It was total surrender to the Guru, isn't it? Wonderful, Jayashri. Beautiful. Yes. Anyone else? In fact, the one thing which leaps out at us with this story, I don't know, somehow people are not. I wish someone would tell that, you know. Okay.
Matru Vakya is very important. We know who the mother is.
Very good. Very good.
Okay.
Yes, fine. Yes, Lakshmi.
Everything that they have told, pranas and vayus and agni and everything is inside you. So you yourself is a Brahman and you have to enlarge yourself.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I think it's absolutely wonderful. All these inputs. Yes. Anyone wants to add, you pick, you can go on adding. But here is one. Absence of, yes, Sujaya, madam.
Telling Satya is the base for everything.
Telling Satya is the base for everything. You are so right. Yes. Starting point and ending point and the middle has to be Satya. Wonderful, Sujaya, madam. Wonderful. Beautiful. So how about this absence of caste biases in Vedic India? Isn't it? See, we all tend to think that we are a very conservative society. Ancient India was very conservative. And, you know, based on this horrible reputation India has got about this caste system, which is so utterly wrong. Here is this little boy with no caste, no lineage to speak of. You know, he was a Guna Brahmana, not a Varna Brahmana. That was the thing. And he was happily, this is the main thing. There was no caste bias in ancient India. All this caste, everything has come very lately in recent times. We know for what purpose. No caste bias. The only bias was towards, are you interested in acquiring knowledge? That was the only consideration, isn't it? And then uttering small lies versus stating inconvenient truths. Now here is a lesson for all of us from this Satyakama. Like Sujaya madam said, truth must be, we should make it a habit. But what we have made a habit is uttering small lies, you know, because truths are a little inconvenient sometimes. Even there is a Subhashita which says, Satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat. Na bruyat, satyam apriyam. Do not utter truths which are inconvenient. So yes, it has certain merit to it, but this uttering small lies should not become a habit with us. Or if it has become, we should stop it, because that much farther away from the truth. We will go farther away from the truth. And this little boy, so innocently, he just goes and tells the most inconvenient truth, which is one would feel extremely, humiliated to state such things, but not this little boy. And yes, not only that, but truth and integrity were rewarded also. They're rewarded. Let us not think that if I say something, then I'll be ostracized, or I'll make enemies out of people. No, not at all. Here is a story which tells us that his truth and integrity were recognized and rewarded by the Guru, recognizing intrinsic potential. This Gautama Rishi immediately saw that this Satyakama had great potential. That shows the caliber of the teacher. He was so unbiased and he was so invested in getting the proper disciple that he immediately recognized Satyakama as one who is fit for Brahmajnana, and he took him under his wing. And then Satyakama's journey itself shows that, it shows the benefit of the merit of patient pursuit of knowledge. And he was so patient and he was so dedicated to the job that the Guru gave, that he completely lost track of time also. Whereas immediate gratification has now become a way of life for most of us. We don't know something, Google Ananda will give us all the answers. Or we ask somebody, we send a WhatsApp message and ask for answers. It's become very easy. Gathering information has become very, very easy. So that information, when will it become mine? When can I own it? Only when I have pursued it and discovered it for myself will it become that knowledge will turn into wisdom. So many lessons from the story. Somebody wants to say something. And then, so it's also a lesson in titiksha, forbearance, fortitude, surrender to the Guru. And of course, it reminds us that the goal of life is the same. All of us, from ancient India right till now, the goal of life is the pursuit of truth, pursuit of who am I. These are the insights from this little story. Unless learning through respecting, nurturing, and studying nature. Yes, one of you said that. Wonderful insight. We don't do it. We don't do it because we are first of all in a concrete jungle and hardly any nature to speak of. And we are very busy through the day, doing this, doing that. Where is the time to stand and stare, like the poet said? Take some time to stand and stare, study nature, nurture. All this will help us in becoming more and more subtle. The mind will become more and more subtle and therefore open to receiving the truths. Yes, beautiful, right. And shall we go to the next story, or you have any more inputs towards this? So this Satyakama, like we said earlier, he started his own ashram and he had a lot of disciples himself. What is that? Yeah. One of the disciples was Upakosala Kamalayana. Let us say this little fellow here is this Upakosala Kamalayana. This, the meaning of this Upakosala means, Upa means near, Kosala is the name of a town. So the name of that boy was Upakosala, the one who lived near Upakosala. Like I am Purnima Coontoor. Coontoor is a name, is the name of ancestral place. So he was Upakosala, and Kamalayana means he was the son of Kamala. See, again here we see that the mother is given a lot of importance here. The son of Kamala, Upakosala. So he was known as Upakosala Kamalayana. And he was a brahmachari. He was studying with Satyakama Jabala. What was his job in the ashrama? His job was to tend to the fires. See, in all these old ancient times, this Agnihotra was very important. Agnihotra. Keep the fire going. That was very, very important. Perhaps they didn't, mainly I feel because they didn't have these electricity and all that. So some light has to be always available all the time. And it was very dangerous if the light went out also. And because they were in a forest, remember, all sorts of creepy crawlies and wild animals always going around. So this Agni was very, very important. Tending to the Agni was the main job of this Upakosala. He had to tend to the Agni. But the problem was this many students passed from the school of this Satyakama Jabala. They graduated and they left. Satyakama blessed them and they gave them the graduation certificate and they did the ceremony and sent them on their way. After graduation, what did they do? They used to go and become grihasthas. They had to come back into the mainstream of life and continue their livelihood as a grihastha and contribute to society. All this had to be done. But this Upakosala was the only one poor fellow who was not allowed to leave the ashrama for a long time. Many batches of students came and went, but this Upakosala went on tending to the fire. He was doing nothing else. And he was waiting very intently. My master will look at me. My master will give me Upadesha of Brahman. He was not given the Upadesha of Brahman at all, for all these years. And he was just doing seva only in the ashrama. Do seva, do this, tend to the fire. That's your job. The poor fellow was very, very, at one point of time, he was so hopeful, but this year my master is going to give me Upadesha. He was very, very sure. But this Satyakama, without saying anything, he made preparations to leave town. See, leave this village. See, in those days, if somebody were left home, they would come back only after a couple of months, because they had no transport, they had to go by foot, and they had many agendas to accomplish. And usually these gurus would go from village to village and make a camp there, recruit students. So many things used to happen. So Upakosala thought, now this time my guru goes, what will I do for all these months? I'm tired of waiting for him. And he started weeping very, very badly. I don't know what to do. And he was so disturbed by this. My guru is not giving me Upadesha. Now he is going away without even looking at me, without even talking to me. What am I supposed to do? Oh, he stopped eating also. He stopped eating because he was so worried. And so this Satyakama's wife, Dharmapatni, was a very kind woman. And since Upakosala had been there for longest time in the ashram, she had kind of, grown fond of this Upakosala. And she asked him, my dear child, don't do this. Don't fast. No mother can tolerate the child fasting, isn't it? So like a real mother, she came and told him, please don't fast, my dear Upakosala. Please eat. I'm sure this time your guru will come back from his yatra and he will definitely give you Brahmajnana. Don't fast. And so this Upakosala, he started weeping very badly. And he said, Amma, I don't know. Then she talked to Satyakama also, the husband also. Why are you not, relieving this boy of his mental agony? Why don't you give him Brahmajnana? What's wrong? Satyakama didn't even bother to reply to the Pati. He said, I will look into it after I come back. And he left. And so this Dharmapatni, she went to this Upakosala and told him, please don't do this. Please don't fast. Guru has said he will come back and look into it. Then bitterly this Upakosala wept and he said, Amma, I don't know. My heart is full of my head is full of bad thoughts. My heart is so heavy with, fear and anxiety and sorrow. My mind wanders. I know I don't have a pure heart. I know I'm not eligible for this Brahma Jnana. My guru is going away. And this Upakosala went on and on and on. And the Guruma said, no, don't say such things. You just please forget, remove all those thoughts from your mind and you just do the job that the Guru has given. Please take care of the fire. All will be well, my dear. All will be well. So she consoled him. And so this Upakosala finally sat down calmly and just started meditating. He started meditating. When that happened, when his mind and heart calmed down to a great degree, what happened was the fire started talking to him. Okay. The fire said, this boy here has been taking care of me so well all these years, and this master has gone away. I think I should only take matters into my own hands and I have to give this Upadesha, Brahma Upadesha to this boy. I will take charge, he said. And he spoke to Upakosala and the fire said, Prano Brahma, Kam Brahma, Kam Brahma. Prana is Brahman, and then Kam, happiness is Brahman, and Kam, space is Brahman. This was cryptic message the fire gave. And this Upakosala, see, they were not even shocked that this Agni has come and, is speaking to me. Perhaps that was par for the course in those times. He prostrated to Agni Deva and said, I understand that prana is Brahman. It's easy to understand that prana, which connects all human beings, is Brahman. But what is this Kam Brahma and, Kam Brahma? I don't understand. So the Agni said, Yad Bhavakam Tadeva Kam. Yad Bhavakam Tadeva Kam. So the small Kam is happiness, big Kam is space. And so he said, whatever is Kam, that itself is, whatever is happiness, that itself is space. Whatever is space, that itself is happiness. Again, cryptic. And so, but With this, Upakosala understood what was being said. So what was actually being said was, this kham means the space in the heart, dharakasha, the space in the heart which is filled with bliss. That itself is Brahman. So close your eyes with pranayama, meditate on the space in the heart, and you will realize Brahman. That was the teaching given by this Agni. And then there are three Agnis. This was Grahapatya Agni. So this in this Gruhastha has to keep one Agni going all the time. That is called as Grahapatya Agni. So this Grahapatya Agni again gave some more mantras to this guy, the Upakosala. He said, Prithvi is Prithvi, Anna, Agni, Aditya. You are worshipping all these things. All these things are Brahman. Prithvi is Brahman. Annam is Brahman. Agni is Brahman. And Aditya, the sun, is Brahman. See, can you see the connection here between the, earth and food and fire and Aditya? It talks about the food cycle, basically, everything, they're all connected. Anna grows on earth, and the water goes up with the heat, water goes up. The sun also, gives heat, it goes up into the clouds. Everything is connected. So this Garahapatya Agni gives this knowledge. And then there is one more Agni called Dakshina Agni. Dakshina Agni is that last Agni, which from this Grahapatya Agni, one stick is lit and that fire is taken for the last rites of the individual who is doing the Agni, of a family member who passes away. So this Dakshina Agni says, it also gives Gyan to this fellow. Jala, Dik means the directions, Nakshatra, the stars, and Chandra, the moon. They are also Brahman. This Agni gives this Jnana to this little boy. And then one more Agni, Ahavaniya Agni. This Ahavaniya Agni is another kind of Agni where from the same Grahapatya Agni, one more stick is lit and it is taken for some other Homa, Havana you do on special occasions. It is taken. So that Ahavaniya Agni tells him, Prana is Brahman, Akasha is Brahman, Dyuloka, heaven is Brahman, Vidyut, lightning is Brahman. So again, the three Agnis give him this knowledge about all these Agnis, basically. All the quarters. Again, it's all about little parts or aspects of Brahman. They give the Gyan. And then what happens? Upakosala accepts all this knowledge with great gratitude and humility, and then meditates on it for a long time until the master comes back. So, who he dwells in all the directions, the diks, who he dwells in the sky, he who dwells in the lightning, he who dwells on earth, he who dwells on the sun, everything is Brahman. This is the insight he gets from these Agnis, and the true nature of everything is revealed to Upakosala by the knowledge given by these Agnis. And after this knowledge, again Upakosala's face shines with the knowledge of Brahman. And so again Satyakama comes back from his tours and he sees that his student is already filled with the knowledge of, glowing with the knowledge of Brahman. And so he asks him, who gave you this knowledge? He says, beings other than you have given me the knowledge, which is not enough. Same thing. Acharyat eva vidya vidita sadhishta praptu. Now the knowledge has to come from you, my Lord. All the devatas have, the Agni devatas have given me the knowledge, but unless it comes from the Sadguru, it will not be complete. So again, Satyakama is very pleased with his Shishya and he hugs him and he gives him, again, you have been given the way to meditate on Brahman, but now I will tell you that you yourself are Brahman. That is the ultimate Vidya. And Satyakama gives that Vidya to Upakosala. So this is another little story on some more or less similar to what we heard from Satyakama's story. Now tell us, let us contemplate on what we can get from this story. Insights. Anybody? Other than what we had in the Satyakama story. Any more insights?
Yeah, please share. You can unmute and share.
Yes, Anupama. Yeah.
We can gain the knowledge of microcosm and macrocosm through keen observation or through any text. But for the inward journey,
Yes.
definitely we need our Guru or
Yes.
Sadguru.
Very good.
Then
Yes,
only that aikyam can happen.
very good. Excellent, Anupama. Yes. So the aikyam can happen only when your heart is open, the mind is open, to learn from all quarters. Excellent. Yes. Aruna?
Meditation is very important. When you contemplate on a particular thing and go deep into it, that
Yes.
itself reveals so many secrets to us. So
Yes.
meditation done properly is a very good guru. But
Excellent.
finally, again, a real guru is needed.
Yes. Dhyana. Dhyana, we can never underestimate the power and importance of dhyana. Absolutely. Yes.
His patience was being
the-
tested. His mumukshatva was being tested
Yes.
by delaying the
Yes.
Brahmajnana.
Yes, Jayashri. Correct. His patience and his mumukshatva, how keen he is, everything was tested. Yes, Shiva Prakash.
You need to have the patience, and Guru knows the best when to give the jnana, when it will come.
Perfect. Perfectly said. Guru knows best. So important. Lovely. Very beautiful insight.
Not giving up, like he didn't give up, like he continued his pursuit.
Very good. Yes, Suma. Not giving up. Just being at it. Focus and perseverance. Yes,
Yeah.
very good. Yeah. So lovely, lovely inputs. Let us see if we can get any more. I think all points have been covered. The adhikari for jnana, sadhana chatushtaya is very important. See, why was batch after batch of shishyas were going from the ashrama, but this guy was made to wait. Why? Because he was not at an adhikari shishya. He was not at, that adhikara for jnana had not yet come to him. While he himself admits that my heart is full of impurities, my mind is impure, I am not yet ready to get Brahma jnana. All these thoughts were in his mind, and the Guru knew it. So that was why that sadhana chatushtaya, shamadam, what is the sadhana, that viveka, vairagya, shamadamadi shat sampatti and mumukshutava, everything is the basic level preparation that any of us should have to be eligible for the jnana. That is one thing we can take away from this. And then, see, the gruhastha should also lead an enlightened life. It is not just like what we do in modern day. We just go to school, college, graduate, get married. No. Even to get married, that base has to be the Vedic dharmic way of life. We have to learn how to live an enlightened life. Even as a gruhastha, all the panchagni, the pancha yajnas, you have to know what it is to be a gruhastha and how to contribute to society. And all these things have to be learned. That you learn at a guru's ashrama. They prepare you for life. It's a preparation for life and not just for writing exams. And Gruhastha's role in the society was very, very, very important, because only a Gruhastha can uphold the system, the Guru Shishya Parampara itself. The Gurukula was funded by these Gruhasthas, isn't it? The sannyasis were funded by Gruhasthas. Entire society has to run by Gruhasthas and business people. So it's very important that a Gruhastha has to be enlightened about at least his own role. That was the preparation that was to be done in the ashrama. And so the Guru waits until the fellow is ready to get this knowledge. And then, yes, someone said that these are different tests for different students. The question paper is not the same for all the students. It's not just about who is Brahman, who am I, right answer. No. The test is basically to test the preparation of the student. And every guru had a different way of testing different students according to their weaknesses and strengths. See what a beautiful system it is. I mean, the more you think about it, the more amazed you are at the logical, beautiful way in which all these was designed, no conflict at all about anything. And then there were different methods of teaching as well. I'm sure the Satyakama had this method to teach this Upakosala. Like that, so many Shishyas would have got different ways they would have gotten the. Satyakama himself had to go through a very different way of getting this knowledge of Brahman. It is not at all just textbook knowledge, listening from the Guru and chanting, whatever it is. So many things. The life itself gave a lot of methods to teach. And surrender to the Guru totally, of course. Don't question the Guru. Don't lament. The moment you lament, oh, why the Guru is not looking at me, not talking to me, immediately that impurity in the heart and brain, that will stop the jnana from flowing. So that was why Satyakama was waiting. So difficult. Just to think of the plight of that poor Upakosala, I feel very sad. And we have absolutely no patience. And immediately we want to have answers. We want everything to be done in an instant. No patience and no surrender. These are all the qualities that we need to learn. That is the lesson for us all. And then, this comes later. I'm sorry. We shall start properly. So there's a lecture among the several lectures on life by Swami Vivekananda. This practical Vedanta lecture series are there, in which some beautiful insights Swamiji gives. One is, religion is a practical science. This is from ancient India. We see that religion was a very practical science. What cannot be seen and tested was not even taught to children. It was very, very practical. It was not just something out of the books. They used to learn from nature. They used to observe nature. The food cycle, they would observe the food cycle and they derive conclusions. So religion is a practical science. And the connection between all entities, everything was given in a very practical manner to the students. And the world spoke to our ancient thinkers. We know all the Vedas, etc. Everything has come from nature itself, from Brahman itself, from Narayana himself. Because our ancient thinkers were open to it. They were pure-hearted, they were pure in mind and heart, and said the world could speak to them. See that Ayurveda also, the science of Ayurveda came from this. The plants actually spoke to the sages. Said they were able to converse with at a different level and find out what these plants, these herbs were capable of healing. So the world spoke to our ancient thinkers. Now who speaks to us in modern times? Social media speak to us, isn't it? WhatsApp speaks to us, TV speaks to us. Where do we have the space to think by ourselves? We are bombarded by information all the time. The world speaks to us, but not the world that the ancient thinkers are thinking about. This contemporary world just corrupts our mind, nothing else. And the discovery of the truth by patient investigation. Yes, this point has come before also. Patient investigation by studying nature and discovering truth. This is what Swami Vivekananda has also said. And the basic theme in all of Vedanta is, see the Lord in everything and not they as they appear to be. See, this is very evident in both the stories that we went through. See the Lord in the rain, in the sun, in the rain, in the earth. Everywhere, all the padas and quarters that Satyakama we talked about, and also Upakosala. Everything is part of nature. And it's only God in everything that is to be seen. So what happens when we see the Lord in everything? The appearance will never harm or scare you. The world can be a very scary place. But once we know the essence of everything, it will not harm or scare me anymore. These were the insights given by Swami Vivekananda on all the stories that are found in the Upanishads. See how beautiful our Sanatana Dharma is, isn't it? Okay, so what's the time? So one more story and we can wrap up. This is about Uddalaka Aruni and Shvetaketu. So we learned that Shvetaketu and Uddalaka Aruni are the heroes of this Chandogya Upanishad. And this Uddalaka Aruni, the father of Shvetaketu, was not an ordinary person. I am sure we all remember this story about this Uddalaka Aruni, who was such a Guru Bhakta, and he would take the Guru's order very seriously. His Guru was Dhauma, Rishi Dhauma. And once there was a breach in one of the dams, and the Guru told this Uddalaka, go and stop that breach. Water is leaking away. And so this Uddalaka tried everything and nothing helped. And so he himself, slept. He made a barrier of himself and stopped the flow. And he lay there for ages. And the ashramites came searching, where is Uddalaka, Uddalaka? This fellow is, stopping. He himself is the barrier to stop the flow of water. So that kind of Guru Bhakti and Shraddha he had. So no wonder this Uddalaka Aruni grew to be a great sage. And his son was Shvetaketu. So this Uddalaka, like a good father, sent Shvetaketu on the quest, to the ashrama, to a Gurukula, to learn all about whatever it is to be learnt at the Gurukula. And after Shvetaketu came, he went at the age of 12 and came back at the age of 21 or 18 or whatever. And so he was very cocky. When he came back from the Gurukula, the Shvetaketu was looking very cocky. He had got the graduation certificate and he was wearing perhaps a cap. And he said, here I am. I'm done with my studies. I'm ready for the world. World, here I come. And so this Uddalaka Aruni said, oh, this fellow looks to be thoda, ego. It's become more. So let me see what's happening. And so he asks Shvetaketu, what all did you learn? So Shvetaketu, give him a list, gives them list. History, geography, physics, chemistry, biology, everything, mathematics, everything. He gives a big patti of what he learned. But then Uddalaka asked him just one question. Have you ever asked your teachers for that instruction by knowing which you know everything else? What a beautiful question from the Guru. Do you know about that by knowing which you know everything else? Why do you want to study these thousands of topics? Okay, good, you have learned all these thousands of topics, but do you know that one thing by knowing which you will know everything? Beautiful question. And Shvetaketu was foxed. He didn't know what was happening. He said, I don't know, Father. Nobody ever taught me that in the ashrama, in my Gurukula. You tell me what it is all about. And so the most famous passage in this Chandogya Upanishad comes as the dialogue between father and son, Guru and Shishya, Uddalaka Aruni and Shvetaketu. So, Uddalaka says, if you know clay, you will know a clay pot, isn't it? If you know clay, you will know all the things made of clay. Whether it's a pot, whether it's a toy, whether it's a jug, whether it is a plate, everything that you can make of a clay, you can know. If you know clay, what is the material with which a pot is made? It is clay. So you know the material, then you can create whatever you want from the material. How the material behaves, how to shape it into this shape. Everything comes very naturally, but you should know the nature of the clay. See, this is the famous analogy given in Vedanta, which comes from Chandogya Upanishad. So he says, You know clay and you know all the shapes, all the forms that the clay can take. What is the inner meaning? We'll come to that later. Let us dwell on the inner meaning. And then one more, he says, you know gold and you know all ornaments. You don't have to study the bangle differently or the necklace differently or the ring differently or the anklets differently. You know you know gold and you all know all the golden ornaments. These are the examples given in Chandogya Upanishad. So beautiful. I feel it's being said to us directly because they're so commonplace examples that we can immediately relate to these beautiful examples. And then one more example he gives. If you know iron, you can know the nail cutter. So this was really fantastic, for me. That they actually had nail cutters in those times. This is the picture I found on the net about the nail cutter they used to have in olden times. I don't know if this is, maybe it's imagination, but still it's fantastic, isn't it? So if you know iron, you know nail cutter, you know a hammer, you know a sickle, you know an axe, everything you know. Everything that can be made of iron, you know. That's what Uddalaka says to Shvetaketu. The meaning is, understand the material of which any given object is made, and you understand everything else made of the same material. And then he says, Tattvamasi Shvetaketu, the famous Mahavakya. Tattvamasi Shvetaketu. Thou art that, my dear Shvetaketu. What are you? You are the base material of which everything is made. You and I are the same base material from which the different names and forms have come. Tattvamasi Shvetaketu. This is how Uddalaka teaches Shvetaketu from common everyday examples which even we can understand to this day. That is how contemporary the teachings of the Upanishads are. And this is not all. He gives several other examples. Then he says, get me this Nyagroda tree, the seed of a banyan tree. Okay, so Shvetaketu brings him the seed of a banyan tree. The seeds are very, very, very small seed. The small seeds inside the fruit, they're infinitesimally small compared to the huge banyan tree. And so, this Uddalaka tells the son, now you cut open the seed. And he cuts open the seed. And the Guru says, what do you see inside the seed? Shvetaketu says, nothing. And so what does Uddalaka say? The famous statement, Tattvamasi Shvetaketu. You are that nothingness inside the seed, my dear Shvetaketu. You are that nothingness from which the huge banyan tree has come, like that seed, which is so small, and inside that so small seed, nothing is there, is only space. From that, this huge banyan tree has come. From nothingness, the world has come. From that essence, everything has come. And you are that essence. Tat tvam asi Shvetaketu, he says. Just as that subtlest, unseen essence pervades the tree. From that nothingness, the tree has come. Similarly, Sat, that's the truth. It is subtle and invisible. It pervades all of existence. That subtle essence, Sat, is the truth. And it is that Atman, he says. Everything comes from that and everything merges back into that. It is in all beings. You, like the tree and the world, are made of that essence. The evidence of that can be grasped by reasoning and faith. So this is the teaching given by the Upanishads. All Upanishads say the same thing, that the Sat, the existence is the base of everything. Existence, Sat is existence. And Tattvamasi, you are that existence yourself. This is the teaching. And like this, several beautiful examples are given by, and so the Shvetaketu still doesn't get it. He goes on and on, asks the father, what is it? I am not getting it. How can I come from nothing, etc., etc.? So he gives one more example. You take salt. He asks Shvetaketu to bring a glass of water. So he brings a glass of water and he says, now you put some salt into it. He puts salt. Then what happens? The salt mixes with the water and it can't be seen also. Then Uddalaka tells him, now taste the water. He tastes, it is salty. No, take from the bottom and taste it, it is salty. Take a little from the middle and taste it, it is salty. See how that salt has become, that salt or water have become one. They cannot be separated. You like that salt, Sat is inseparable from everything. Sat is the basic. In and out, everything is Sat. And it cannot be seen. Like how salt cannot be seen in water, Sat cannot be seen. And Tattvamasi Shvetaketu. Some 11 times or something, the entire teaching, this Tattvamasi Shvetaketu comes. You are that essence which cannot be seen, but you are in everything. You are that essence. So several other examples similarly. He says how all the rivers flow into the ocean. The river loses its individuality when all the rivers lose their individuality when they merge with the ocean. Like that, each and everything that is seen in the universe loses the individuality when it comes to the essence level, Sat level. And then he gives the example of honey bees, which collect honey from different flowers. The honey is collected. And then when it all comes to one pot of honey, no honey can say, I came from this flower, I came from that flower. No. Everything is that one essence of that honey alone remains. That is Sat. Beyond all the names and forms is Sat. The truth of my existence is one and the same. The truth of existence, you and me and the entire universe is just one. And then one more example he gives is about the waves and the water and the foam and the bubble. They're all different forms of water, yet they're all water. They lose their individuality when they fall back into water. It appears as a foam, it appears as a bubble, it appears as a wave, a big wave, a small wave, a tsunami wave, a ripple. But then ultimately it's nothing but water. Tattvamasi Shvetaketu. You are that essence, you are that base, you are that Sat. You and I are the same at all levels. These are the beautiful examples and many others that Uddalaka Aruni gives throughout the Chandogya to give this teaching. So yes, insights, and we are done. Any insights on this?
Understanding the foundation is very important. Essential.
Yes.
Essential truth can be understood
Yes.
with the best understanding and knowledge of the foundation.
Yes, Anupama. Correct. Understanding the essence is that is the main purpose of life. That's the way of teaching and that's the way of learning also. Yeah. Anything else? Anything about the method of teaching? You know, how this, remember, this is from ancient India. We don't even have a timeline to this. And look at the methodology, the pedagogy of teaching. So beautiful, isn't it?
Any teaching can be easily understood when we can relate it to our day-to-day life.
Absolutely. Exactly what I was talking about. Yeah. So, like where Swami Vivekananda pointed out, Uddalaka practice practical Vedanta. Like Anupama just said, practical things from everyday life. Wave, water, pot, iron, clay. Huh? I mean, it's so easy. Practical Vedanta. This is the... Who says that Vedanta is not interesting? How can we even say that? Look at these beautiful examples that Uddalaka gives, isn't it? So easy to understand. Honeybee, river flowing into the ocean, lovely examples. And with this story, we can come to know this Uddalaka was very, very, he was of the opinion that the mind is endowed with a fabulous capacity to observe, to reason, and to infer, to gain insight into reality. So the mind has to be very sharp, has to be prepared. And so the mind has got a fantastic capacity to absorb, infer. Everything can, that is why the intellect is very important in Vedanta. In Jnana Marga, intellect is very important. In Bhakti Marga, the heart is very important. But then, if you are a Bhakta, the God himself will take you to Jnana Marga and give you a very keen intellect to understand reality, to gain insight into reality. However, the mind is very all-powerful, the intellect is all-powerful, but it is beyond the realm of subjective sense and cognition. But the truth is beyond, beyond just mere observance and all that. It's beyond. We can understand Sat only through reasoning, but it is also, the faith is also very important. So throughout this teaching, this word this phrase comes very often. Uddalaka goes on telling his son, Shraddhastva Saumya. Saumya means my beloved. Shraddhasva. Be rooted in faith. Have faith. Have Shraddha. Shraddha again is one of the main ingredients of sadhana chatushtaya and Shakt Sampati. Shraddha is the main thing. What is Shraddha? Faith in the Guru Vakya, Apta Vakya of the Vedas and the Guru of the Upanishads. First, take the hypothesis, whatever the Upanishad is giving, accept the hypothesis, and then you apply your logic and you ask questions, no problem. Bhagavad Gita also, he says, what does Krishna say? Or Tadvidhi pranipatena pariniprashtena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnanina tattvadarshinaha. Tadvidhi, it means you come to know. Pranipatena, first you surrender. First you have Shraddha. That is the basic. And then pariprashna. You ask 100 questions, no problem. But not as a challenge to the Guru, but with great humility, with the only intention of getting knowledge, clarifying the doubts. That is why Shraddha is highly rated in Vedanta. So these are some of the insights from this. Throughout this Chandogya Upanishad, the term Brahman is never used. Tat and Sat is used by Uddalaka, but not Brahman. Atman is used, but not Brahman. But then Shankara Bhagavad-pada, he later said Tat refers to Brahman alone and nothing else. And so Tattvamasi is considered a Mahavakya, telling about the truth of Brahman. So these are some of the stories, from the Chandogya. Hope they made sense. Hope you enjoyed them as much as I did. So, yes. Vaniji, thank you very much, Vani and Vasu, for giving me this chance to share my enthusiasm, with you all. Thank you so much.